Okay, hey, so how's it, guys? And welcome to this week's EllAstrology's live stream. Now, for this week, I'm going to be talking about moon signs. Now, if most of you don't know your moon sign, it might be a good idea to just go and check on Google, just look for like a random astrology chart generator website and just check out what your moon sign is, because to know what I'm going to be talking about, you just need to know what your moon sign is. Cool. So I'm going to start out with just going into some detail about what the moon represents. So the moon represents your emotions and how you basically emotionally interact in situations. It will also represent just how you internalize your emotions and how you really go through your day-to-day life, emotionally. It's quite different from your other signs. It's not like your sun sign. Your sun sign basically represents who you are at your core. Your moon sign is more representative of your emotions. So it's very interesting to look into the moon sign because you can really look into a lot of ways how different people interact emotionally and just why some people are just, a lot different to others in an emotional way. Okay, cool. So the first moon sign I'm going to talk about is Aries. Now, if your moon is in Aries, you will be a person who will react quite quickly in, emotional situations. You won't really think things through before you do it. So you just really are quite irrational when it comes to your emotions. And yeah, it's just, it's not a very, how do I say, stable placement to have, but it can have its benefits as well. Like these people, they are bigger risk takers, which can be in their benefits sometimes, because sometimes people need to take risks to really, get somewhere in life and that kind of thing. And yeah, like people with an Aries moon, they just, they're faced with something and they just act instantly. They don't really think it through. And then afterwards, they can look at a situation and be like, ooh, I should have probably acted differently, or I could have gone about that differently. So yeah, that goes a lot with the Aries moon sign. Okay, so the next one's going to be Taurus. So if your moon sign's in Taurus, then you're a person who really wants like emotional security. You won't really be like an Aries person who will just kind of take risks and just, act on impulse. You'll kind of think things through a lot more. You'll think things through a lot more than what other people will. You'll actually need a lot more time to come to a decision, because once you make a decision, you really stick to it. You're very, grounded in the choices that you make, and you know exactly what you really want. So you won't just go around and kind of, react impulsively on your emotions and that kind of thing. You kind of keep it more into yourself. So yeah, it's a very, very, how will I say, stable sign to have your moon in. People with this moon placement tend to be a lot more emotionally stable. Okay, great. So the next one's going to be Gemini. Now, if your moon sign's in Gemini, you'll be a person who will try and logically work through your emotions. You won't really allow yourself to feel your emotions that much. You'll rather see if you're able to make sense of the emotions you feel and if there's some kind of explanation for it, instead of actually allowing yourself to just feel what you're feeling. So people with the moon in Gemini, they have a really hard time, I find, to just, accept like what they're feeling, to accept love, and to just accept like certain things, because they'll usually try and overanalyze, the emotions they're feeling. They'll overanalyze the things that are going on. And one thing I've learned in life is that it doesn't help to overanalyze things. Sometimes you really just got to sit back and you just got to let things be. So yeah, Gemini people kind of have a hard time with that. They struggle to let, Gemini moon people, sorry, they struggle to let things kind of just be, and they kind of always have to have some kind of explanation, or some kind of reason for what they're feeling. Okay, great. So the next one is going to be Cancer. People who have their moon sign in Cancer, they can be quite intuitive people. They can really feel the emotions of others quite easily because Cancer is one of the most intuitive signs. So these people, they'll just really, they'll really sink into whatever situation they're in because they really feel everything around them, and they really get like emotionally involved with everything and everyone. And yeah, these people can be quite deep people. It's quite an unstable placement for the moon to have because they are feeling so many emotions, they're feeling so many things that, you know, it can kind of overwhelm them sometimes. People with this placement, they also tend to be quite motherly and quite loving. They really like to care for other people. They like to care for other people in a very emotional kind of way, like they have to be there for them. They like to make sure that, you know, the person is happy, the person's not sad, and just like the kind of way that a mother would look after a child and that a mother would love their child. So these people, they just tend to have this kind of motherly aspects to them. And yeah, it's just very interesting. They're very soft people, soft-spoken people. They're very delicate people, and they, just very, very intuitive and emotional, and just, like I said, they really care for the people around them and that kind of thing. Okay, great. So the next one is Leo. So people with Leo, they tend to react emotionally to situations where they get admired. So you'll find them around people that admire them, and they'll tend to stick there. You know, they'll tend to stick to a place or a situation or a social setting where they're loved and where the people around them just really appreciate them. Now, people with the moon in Leo will have a very hard time being around people that don't appreciate them and don't admire them, and that's when they can become quite depressed and they can really just retreat. So usually a moon and Leo person knows they need to be around the people that appreciate them for them to feel good. And yeah, it's just a very interesting placement to have. These people also have a very big capacity to love, because usually when you love them, they love you just as much back. So yeah, quite an interesting aspect. Okay, so the next one's going to be Virgo. Then it's going to be, oh, sorry guys. So basically Virgo people, they also quite a lot like Gemini people when it comes to their emotions, but they're a little bit more introverted than the Gemini people would be. So Virgo people will also, you know, try and find a good reason and a good explanation for what's going on and what they're feeling. And they really tend to investigate, you know, what's going on. They really try and find out about themselves a lot. They want to investigate, you know, themselves and how they're feeling. These people tend to really get into things like psychology, because they really just want to understand emotions and why it's felt, you know, and that kind of thing. The Virgo moon is a lot like a Cancer moon, where they also care a lot for other people, but they're quite different. They're not like a motherly kind of love and caring way. They kind of care a lot for people in more of a, you know, did you brush your teeth way? Did you eat last night way? Do not drive home drunk way. Did you sweep your floor? Like, they make sure that, you know, you have all your things in order, that all your ducks are in a row, and they just want to make sure that, you know, nothing will go wrong with you or anything like that. So they kind of look out for people in that kind of way, which is quite interesting. Virgo moon friends are quite cool people, because they're usually the kind of friends that are just like looking out for you and just like actually caring about, you know, things that might go wrong and that kind of thing. They actually think, they preempt things that can go wrong. They're usually the kind of person that will say, oh no, we shouldn't do that because what if this happens, you know? So yeah, it's quite an interesting placement to have as well. So Libra, These people are quite peaceful people, I've noticed. They try to always balance their emotions, so they really don't like delve deep into one emotion. They won't allow themselves to kind of, you know, just experience one emotion for too long without getting out of that and going back into like a happy emotion. Or if they're feeling a happy emotion, they kind of have to go back into a sad emotion for a little bit, but they don't delve into one emotion for too long. So these people can have quite, you know, changeable emotions, but they're usually quite peaceful people because in their head, they're basically just trying to balance all these things that they're feeling and to just turn it into like one emotion that they can kind of live through peacefully. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting moon aspect to have. Oh, sorry about the dogs. They also tend to, you know, not act too rationally, and they tend to think things through. They like to think things through a lot. They don't make decisions quite easily. A person with a moon in Libra, they can procrastinate quite a bit because they're scared if they make a decision, it might be the wrong decision. It's moon in Libra. So Libra is basically the opposite sign of Aries. Now, if you were around for the beginning of the video, you would have seen I spoke about how Aries are quite irrational and quick on their decisions and they don't really think them through. Now, Libra is the exact opposite of that. They actually think things through and they actually think things through too much that they don't make a decision. But yeah, it's a very nice moon sign to have, and these people can just be really peaceful people to have around. Okay, so then the next one's going to be Scorpio moon. So I actually also have my moon in Scorpio, so I actually know quite a bit about this moon placement. I think I experience it quite a lot because I experience it every day. So Scorpio moon is like a moon sign where you're like on these emotional up and downs all the time. Like you don't know a gray area. You're either really, really happy and bubbly and just on a very happy, good space, or you're really upset and emotional and angry and you just can't get out of that space. And for Scorpio moons, it's really hard to find a middle ground. Like the Libra, the previous sign I spoke of, they find it easy to find that middle ground between these two emotions. A Scorpio moon can't. They just feel so much and they just go through so much. And you'll find these people, they tend to bottle up their emotions quite a bit. They'll go through so much experiences, so much pressure, so much turmoils, and just kind of like trauma, and they'll kind of just keep it in and try and be as strong as they can be until eventually they just have like a massive emotional outburst and they just can't keep their emotions in anymore. And it's quite an intense placement to have because they say Scorpio moons, Cancer moons, and Pisces moons, they are the people that can feel emotions the most strongest out of all the people. So especially Scorpio moon, because of the intensity associated with the sign Scorpio as well. Every single emotion that they feel is super intense and it's really magnified. The sign Scorpio basically magnifies any emotion that they feel. So they really feel it a lot. So it's a very hectic sign to have. So Scorpio moon people, when you meet them, you'll find quite intense people because they're just really feeling whatever is going on inside them so much at that moment, and you can really see it in them. They're quite interesting people as well. The next sign I'm going to talk about is Sagittarius. So Sagittarians are very straightforward people. They don't like sugarcoating things. So whenever they're feeling something, they will tell you. They will not hide. Sorry about the dogs. They will not hide their emotions from you. They will tell it like it is, and they'll be completely blunt about it. These people don't like to, you know, keep things hidden. They like to keep things open and just make things as visible as it can be. So yeah, that's a very interesting moon sign to have as well. It's not like a Scorpio moon that tends to keep things inside them. You'll know what's bugging a Sagittarius moon, and you'll know exactly what's going on with them. Okay, great. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Capricorn. So Capricorn moons, these people are actually known to be the perfectionists. A lot of people say that Virgos and Libras are the perfectionists, but Capricorn moon people are actually like real perfectionists, because these people tend to really struggle to deal with rejection and to deal with, just being looked down upon, and just any kind of negative, perception that any person can have of them. They really want people to look up to them. They want to appear as a strong individual. They want to appear as a powerful person. So these people really tend to work on their flaws a lot. They will try and be as perfect as they can be, and they are very, very sensitive to other people's ideas and perceptions, like I said. So they'll make sure that whatever the other person perceives them as is the best perception they can possibly, have. So they'll try and be the best person they can possibly be. So it's quite a stressful position to have as your moon sign, because you're constantly trying to be, as perfect as you can possibly be for the people around you. Okay, so the next one is going to be Aquarius moon. So people with Aquarius moon, they can be quite mysterious people. I'm sure most of you know that Aquarius people, they're usually the eccentric people. They're the people that are very different. They're not like your usual person. Aquarians love to be different. Now, a person with an Aquarius moon, they'll have this sense of mystery about them. Like, you can never figure them out. You can never figure out what's going on with them. You don't know what their story is. You'll try and figure out their story. You'll try and know what's going on, but you kind of can't. And it'll also sometimes seem like this person doesn't have a lot of emotions, but this person does have a lot of emotions. It's just Aquarian moons, they also don't really allow themselves to show what they're feeling. So they'll keep it in, and you'll kind of think, oh, this person's kind of emotionless and stuff, but they actually have a lot going on. They just kind of intellectualize the emotions more than, express it in like an emotional way. So they'll think about their emotions a lot. Okay, so the next one is going to be the last one in the zodiac, and that's going to be Pisces. Now, Pisces people are a lot like Cancer moon people, and they're also a lot like Scorpio moon people. They really feel a lot. They're very sensitive to, emotion and energy around them. And Pisces people, they should really try and stay away from any kind of cruelty, any kind of suffering, because these people have a really hard time dealing with that. So if they're exposed to like even graphic images on TV, or like extremely like, how do I say, sensitive articles in the news or anything like that, it could really affect them. Even though it doesn't really have much to do with them, they feel everything of everyone so much. They can even feel the emotions of the person that they can see like a video on the TV of, they feel so much that I usually just always tell, Pisces moon people that just stay away from any kind of violence, like exposure to violence, any kind of, images of violence, and just like any kind of traumatizing and like cruel and images that create suffering and that kind of thing, because it could actually affect you like a lot mentally. It could affect you like your health, and it will literally bring your energy down. So people with Pisces moon people really need to be surrounded with positive energy and just really good things, because they literally suck everything in around them. And it's a very sensitive moon placement to have. So yeah, if you have this placement, just be very careful, who you're with and what your surroundings are and that kind of thing.